Hey guys, tonight we're heading to the open, frozen steppe, where the wind sings through felt tents, and your hunting companion isn't a dog, or even a horse, but Arasaur-eyed golden eagle, Yuri, about to live a day as a Mongolian falconer. Part of our tradition so old that even his Khan Might VA looked up and said, "Nice bird. Now, fair warning, it's cold. Like, your eyelids might stick together cold. And while your ego is majestic, it is also moody, and maybe just a little judgy. We're going to start your day in the dark. Saddle a horse that doesn't like you yet, and ride across a landscape that's beautiful, brutal, and most lie silent. You might not survive this day in real life, but thankfully, this is just your imagination. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what Edo here. And hey, drop a comment to tell me where you re-listening from, and what time it is that right now. You always love knowing who's out there with me, somewhere in the dark. Now dim the lights, maybe turn on often for that soft background hum, and let's ease into tonight's journey together. You wake to the sound of wind pressing against the felt walls of the ger, the traditional round Mongolian dwelling you've slept in your whole life. The fire at the center has long burned down to embers, and the cold creeps in through every seam. You didn't sit up yet? Instead, you listen. There's the rhythmic breathing of your horse outside, the occasional flap of wings from the perch where your eagle sleeps, and the low whistle of wind curling under the heavy yak wool blankets. This is morning in the Altai Mountains, and like every morning, the first decision you make is whether you leave the warm th of your bed for a world where frost collects in your eyelashes. Eventually, you do what falconers have done for centuries. You rise before the sun. The ger smells like ash and leather and faint traces of the dried meat you had last night. You wrap yourself in thick layers deerskin, wool fur-lined boots. You move quietly because your eagle is still resting, and you don't want to startle her. She needs calm to hunt well later. Outside, the world is pale blue and hushed. Snow crunches under your boots. You unlatch the wood-end door and let it swing open. Greet Ed by a view so wide it makes you feel tiny. Endless steppe, the outline of distant hills, and husky that seems to go on forever. You breathe in air so cold that makes your teeth ache. Before anything else, you check on her, your eagle. She blinks at you slowly, feathers puffed against the cold. Their essay look in her eye, half sleepy, half skeptical. You whisper her name, and she cocks her head slightly, as if deciding whether or not she likes you this morning. Historians still debate when this tradition truly began. Some say it goes back 4,000 years to ancient nomades who watched birds hunt and decided to borrow the technique. Others argue that falconry arrived with Persian influence, traveling east along the trade routes. Either way, what's certain is this: you're now part of a line that stretches far into the past. Passed down from hand to gloved hand, there is a superstition among falconers that the eagle can sense your mood. If you re-anxious, she'll be restless. If you're calm, she'll be focused. So, as you begin your morning chores, you move slowly, deliberately, almost like a ritual. You heat a kettle over the fire pit, melt snow for water, and prepare her food, usually a strip of raw meat, sometimes mixed with eggs or bone, fragments for calcium. She eats daintily, but fast. You never feed her too much. A heavy bird does untie. There's a quiet bond forming between you and her. Not affection exactly, more like mutual respect. The kind that comes when you both depend on each other to survive. Later today, she will ride your gloved arm across the frozen landscape. ULL. Release her into the sky with a silent prayer, and if she returns with prey, your family will eat well tonight. But that's ours from now. For now, as the sky lightens and your breath turns to mist, you both wake to the day together. Feeding her is only the first step. Now, it's time to prepare for the hunt, and that starts with getting your horse ready. Out here, horses aren't pets. They're co-workers, and like any co-worker, they have moods. Yours, a sturdy buckskin mare with more personality than patience, greets you with a sideways glance and ass nod that says, "Don't try anything weird this morning." You lead her to a small patch of cleared snow where your saddle rests on an upturned log. It's a well-worn piece of leather and wood, heavy but molded perfectly to both horse and rider over years of use. As you lift the saddle onto her back, she shifts her weight with a little protest, but not enough to unseat your rhythm. You cinch the girth, adjust the stirrups, and pat her neck. She's ready. Meanwhile, your eagle watches from her perch near the gear, silent and alert. She always seems to know when it's almost time to fly. Before mounting, you check your hunting gear. Small leather pouch hangs at your belt, filled with essentials. Spare leather jesses, a bone whistle, a thin rope, and dried meat for rewards. You inspect your glove, a thick piece of tanned hide that protects your arm from the eagle stalins. The stitching at the wrist is starting to fray. I'll fix that later. Probably. Now comes the warm-up. Not for you. Your body is already adjusting to the chill, but for your eagle, you hold out your arm, glove secure, and she hops onto it with a soft rush of wings. Her weight is familiar now, heavy, but not burdensome. You turn your wrist slightly so she can balance as she adjusts her talons accordingly, gripping you with the precision of a creature that lives by exactness. Then you walk a little, not far, just enough for her to stretch her wings, flex her muscles, and test the air. This part ISN. Tea always written about in books, but falconers know. A bird who starts stiff is a bird who misses her mark. And while she stretches, you drink your tea. Salty, milky and smoky from the yak butter melted into it. Mongolian SUTE, Isai. It tastes like campfire and history. There's a legend that it was once used to predict whether, if the tea separated into layers after boiling, a storm was coming. Yours is smooth today. That's a good sign. The sky is getting brighter. The mountains, in the distance, begin to glow faint light pink with dawn light. It's almost time to leave camp. But before that, there's one last tradition to observe. You speak to your eagle, not in full sentences, not in any language that would make sense if written down, just soft words, a cadence, something between a lullaby and a warning. You tell her, she'll do well today, that the prey is hers to find, but yours to guide, that if she wants, she can soar far beyond the hills, but you really prefer if she came back. No one taught you this part. It's not in the manuals or oral instructions, but every falconer does it. Even the grumpy uncle who says he does believe in bird whispering. Some scholars debate whether this ritual is animism passed down from ancient Turkic tribes, or simply the human habit of talking to animals to calm our own nerves. Either way, your eagle listens. At least, it feels like she does. You step up into the saddle, bird on arm, reins in hand. Your mare exhales a long breath, like she, to knows the weight of this journey. And then, just as the sun begins to edge above the horizon, you nudge your horse forward. You ride into the day, with a predator on your arm, and a wind at your back. The horseshoes make a steady crunch through the snow, muffled and rhythmic, like a heartbeat sink ed with the cold earth. The sun is still low, casting long shadows across the empty plains. You guide your mare toward a ridge, your eagle now hooded and resting on your arm, calm and still. She doesn't need to see yet. Your breath puffs visibly in front of you, swirling like smoke around you. The Altai steppe stretches in every direction. No fences, no roads, just the occasional outline of a distant herd or a line of trees hugging a frozen river. It feels like you're the only person alive. Just you, your horse, and your eagle. And honestly, that's not such a bad way to start the morning. Today's stride one tap short. You're heading toward a patch of low hills where prey likes to hide. Hares, marmots, maybe even Astley fox if you're real lucky. But this part of the day is less about where you go and more about how you go. You ride with ease, your body moving with the horse like you're a part of. The same thought. In Mongolian tradition, horsemanship is learned before handwriting. You can remember learning to ride. It was just something you always did. Babies are sometimes rocked to sleep on saddles before they can walk. Horses are in your bones. You hum as you ride, a low tune passed down from your grandmother. It has a song for focus, she once told you, for keeping the mind from wandering too far ahead of the eagle. Your mare flicks an ear back to listen. She likes this song. You think? There is a moment where you stop to adjust your glove, and while doing so, you glance to your left hand. There it is, a trail. Tiny dotted footprints in the snow, curving up a hill and disappearing over its crest. Hair, most likely. Fresh. You study the spacing, the direction, the faint drag of a belly. This animal was in training. Yet, reading tracks is part art, part science. Some elders claim they can tell what an animal was thinking just by the angle of its steps. Yuri, not quite there, but Yuri getting better. You nudge your mare gently, and she starts to climb. As you ascend, the air grows thinner, but sharper too. The wind up here tastes like pine and ice. You look out over the steppe below, just in time to see Ahok circle far in the distance. Not yours. Wild. But it reminds you that Yuri never truly alone out here. You dismount, brief light a stretch, and give your eagle a rest. She shifts slightly on your arm. Feathers, roughly, still calm. Use your ouch by arc. Pull a bit of dried meat from your pouch and take a bite. It's tough and smoky, yak, probably. Not your favorite, but it does the job. Then you do something you always do before. A hunt. You sit still, just for a minute. You let the landscape speak. Historians argue about whether this practice, this silent listening, is spiritual, strategic, or just something people made up to sound wise in interviews. But you know its value. Out here, sound carries differently. Aruso means more. A bird call can signal prey or predator. Asto, moment might reveal something. A gallop would miss. From behind the rock, you spot a fleck of movement. Brief, but definite lie there. It's time. You stand. Slowly. Your eagle feels it before you even move. Her talons shift. Her body straightens under her hood. She's ready, but not yet unleashed. You remount. The mare senses your energy change and tenses ever so slightly beneath you. The silence is charged now. The sky is clear. The snow reflects the sun, dazzling your eyes. Everything is poised, and the hunt hasn't even begun. Now comes the moment your eagle's been waiting for. You reach up carefully and loosen the knot of the hood that's been covering her eyes since you left camp. The moment it comes off, her entire posture changes, wings shift, feathers ripple slightly. Her head pivots with sudden alertness. The world is hers again. She sees everything. The trees far below. The shadow of a mouse, too small for you to notice. The sky in your face. She gives a low, guttural chirp, which you've come to interpret as, I'm ready, let's do something interesting. You ride slowly toward the crest of the hill, crouching slightly in the saddle to stay low, your body almost in sync with your mare's back. Below, the snow-silvered valley unfolds, and you scan it for motion. There's the trail again, more distinct now, with small round droppings dotting the side. Definite lie, ahar, probably not far. This is where your training meets hers. You dance speak, not even in whispers now. Your arm lifts slightly, wrist angle just right. She knows the cue. You feel the pressure of her feet tense, then shift, and with a powerful push of her talons, she launches into the air. The sound is sudden feathers slicing wind, a soft thump of takeoff. She is no longer on your arm. She is a living missile, streaking through the sky. You shield your eyes with one hand and track her as best you can. Her wingspan is wide, nearly the width of your own outstretched arms. She rises quickly, catching a thermal that carries her higher, then curves back down in aspirale, eyes locked on movement below. There, a flash of brown against white. The hair bolts. You dig your heels into your mare and give chase, not because you outrun the prey, but because your eagle might need you nearby when it's over. The terrain is rougher than it looks. Snow hides dips and dry burrows. Your horse navigates it like a dancer, her breath coming fast but steady. You duck beneath a tree branch and narrowly avoid a low thorn bush. Meanwhile, your eagle drops into a steep dive. It's astonishing every time. The sheer speed, the silence of it. She tucks her wings, just slightly, and becomes gravity itself. She hits the ground with an audible thud. Dust and snow puff up. For a few seconds, you see nothing, then her wings flare open, and you see the hair beneath her, still struggling. She pins it easily, looking around like a queen defending her throne. You slow your mare and dismount. As you approach, you move deliberately, no sudden moves. Your eagle is still keyed up, feathers puffed, eyes wild. If you rush her, she'll fly with or without the kill. You see our ouch. Hold out a bit of meat in your glove and speak softly. She shifts her weight, then gives up her grip slowly, transferring her attention from the hair to the food in your hand. Trade accepted. You examine the hair quickly. It's clean, a good catch. You tie it with a loop of twine and hang it at your saddle. There's a moment, small but real, where you feel pride, not the loud, boastful kind, just the deep satisfaction that comes from ancient skill, from doing something that's been done this way 4,000 years and still works. Some anthropologists debate how far back eagle hunting actually goes. Kazakh legends claim it was practiced even before Genghis Khan, perhaps inherited from Scythian ancestors who roamed the steppes with golden birds on their arms. Others argue it developed more recently, with influence from Central Asian trade and Turkic migration patterns. But you re not here to solve that debate. You re here with your eagle, your horse, and your lunch. You give her another bite of meat and let her rest on the perch you set in the snow. She fluffs her feathers and preens, unbothered by the icy wind. For her, this was just another morning at the office. You, on the other hand, feel your legs ache a bit, but it's a good ache. You sit on a flat rock and pour yourself more tea from the dented tin flask in your saddlebag. The wind whistles through a hollow tree somewhere far off. Another eagle cries. You lean back against your saddle, warmed by the steam in your cup and the sun that has finally started to rise high, enough to touch your cheeks. And for a while, you just sit. No need to move. Not yet. By midday, the air has softened, just a little. The sharp bite of the early morning wind has retreated, and now there is a gentler chill that brushes your cheeks rather than stings them. You adjust your scarf, not because you reek cold, but because it feels like the right moment to shift, to do something with your hands while your mind roams. You've made a decent catch, and the eagle has already returned to her perch. Day the red with a light leather. Jess. She's spreening now calmly, as if her lethal dive earlier was just a form of stretching. Her eyes, golden and hooded in intelligence, flick to you from time to time. You know what she's saying. Good hunt. What now? You decide to rest here for a while. There's snow rush, hunting eyes and ta sprint. It's an unhurried rhythm. You unroll asmo cloth from your saddlebag. Inside, a few dried apricots, some hard cheese, and a dense slab of barley bread. Not a feast, but satisfying. You chew slowly, letting the texture of the food match the quietness of the hills around you. Nearby, your mare grazes on dry tufts of grass, poking through the snow. You loosen it, her bridle, so she can rest her jaw, and she moves slowly, contentedly, as if she too knows there is nothing urgent on the horizon. This kind of midday pause is common for falconers. The old ones say it's not just for the body, it's for the eagle too. Not a slave, your grandfather once told you. Let her breathe the wind, not just chase it. You spend a few moments tending to her. You check her talons, strong, curved like question marks, and brush away a few flecks of snow from her wings. She tolerates your fussing, occasionally snapping her beak in mock irritation. You smile. It's all part of the dance. Far off, you hear the distant bark of a herder's dog. A reminder that you not alone in the steppe, even if it often feels that way. Somewhere over the next ridge, another rider might be mending a fence or guiding a flock. You consider heading that way, maybe sharing tea, exchanging news, but not yet. You take this moment to pull out a scrap of cloth from your coat pocket. Piece of your father's sold deal, the traditional Mongolian tunic, faded blue, soft with wear. You tie it around your wrist, as you always do before the second hunt of the day. It's a quiet tradition, never explained, never questioned. You think about your ancestors. How many generations did this before you? How many stood exactly here, or somewhere just like this, stroking the feathers of a golden eagle, sipping rough tea, scanning the horizon for the shape of prey? There's something comforting in the idea that you're not inventing anything new. You're just continuing as read. That thread, however, isn't always neatly woven. Scholars still argue about the true origins of Kazakh eagle hunting. Some insist it began in western Mongolia only a few hundred years ago, brought by migrating clans escaping persecution. Others suggest it could be as ancient as the petroglyphs scratched into the cliffs of the Altai, depictions of men with birds of prey etched beside wild goats and spears. No one agrees. You, read some of the books. Then you closed them and came out here instead. Your eagle stretches one wing dramatically, shaking loose a few soft down feathers that drift on the wind like ash. She looks at you. It's subtle, but you know what it means. She's ready again. You stand, brush off your coat, and retie the pouch at your hip. Your mare lifts her head, ears flicking. Even she senses the shift. The midday rest is over. The hunt continues. and you, bound by tradition and instinct, mount up once, more glove-ready gaze, sharp, heart quiet. You ride toward the western slope now, where the sun hangs low but bright. The light glints off patches of snow like spilled bronze. There's something about this time of day, just past noon but not quite afternoon, that makes the landscape feel more open, more ancient. Maybe it's the way shadows begin to stretch across the hills. Maybe it's just your imagination, but something about it always feels like entering a different part of time. You guide your mare gently toward a dry creek bed. It has a good spot. Rabbits often dart through the reeds here, and the dips in the terrain give your eagle better angles for surprise. She shifts on your arm, muscles tense again. She knows what comes next, but instead of diving straight into the next hunt, you pause. There's an old stone outcrop here, half buried, windswept. You dismount and step closer, brushing snow off a foamy liar, etching. It's a crude carving, a man with outstretched arms and a bird flying above him. No one really knows how old it is. Some say it's suddenly 100 years old, a mark left by Aboard Shepherd. Others whisper it. Ancient proof that falconry on this step predates written memory. You sit beside the stone for a moment, letting your eagle rest on the perch beside you. The quiet is enormous. Then you remember Astery. Your grandmother used to tell about Ammon, who went hunting with his eagle but returned alone, not because he lost her, but because she chose to fly away forever. You don't own her, she'd say. She lets you borrow her time. It was her way of teaching you humility and of warning you not to take pride too far. And she was right, because no matter how close you feel to this creature beside you, she's not your pet. She's your partner, and partners have choices. You check your saddle straps again. Most lie out of habit. The gear S holding up, the stirrups creak a little, and one of the leather ties is starting to fray. I'll need to fix that back at camp. Tonight, you make a mental note, then immediately forget it. The eagle says, catch a flicker of movement, and your whole body tenses in response. You follow her gaze. Sure enough, there, a tuft of brown fur darting between scrub brush, possibly amberman, maybe another hair. You dainty care. She's already lifting off. No signal this time. She does anti. Wait for your arm to rise. Some days, she takes matters into her own talons. She circles once, twice the air beneath her wings, creating soft pulses you can feel in your chest. You squint against the sunlight and watch her drop like armor, but this time she misses. You hear the thud of her landing, a puff of snow, then silence. She stands tall, scanning for a second chance, but the prey has vanished. You then timed. Not every hunt is a victory. Sometimes the sky wins. She flaps back toward you, slow, annoyed, a little embarrassed. You hold out your arm. She lands with force, claws gripping firm, but you feel the slight tremble in her legs. She's tired. You stroke the feathers behind her neck. Good try, you murmur, even though she doesn't understand the words. Maybe she understands the tone. There's a pause, then a soft call, low and raspy, her way of saying, yeah, don't make it weird. As you prepare to head back, the wind picks up, and the clouds begin to gather. In the west, not a storm yet, but the kind of weather that hints you'll want to start the long ride toward camp soon. You mount up once more. She rides, your arm like a tired soldier, alert but calm. And as you make your way down the slope, you glance back one last time at the stone carving. Still there, still watching, and you wonder, for just a second, how many others before you paused in this exact spot. Eagle in hand, unsure if they'd return with dinner or just stories. The ride back toward camp takes you along the frozen edge of a shallow river. It has more ice than water this time of year, with a faint trickle gurgling beneath the crust, like the breath of the land itself. You keep to the bank, where the snow is thinner and your mare's shoes didn't sink as much. The eagle stays on your arm for a while, then shifts her weight, restless. She's not done yet. You find a good place to pause. A little grove where the reeds grow tall, even in winter. There's movement here, tiny rustles, faint tracks in the snow. Life hides in quiet places. You dismount again, moving slowly, almost ceremonially. The falconer's glove slides on like a second skin. You raise your arm, not high, just enough. She shifts her weight, and with a barely audible clack of her beak, she launches. It's always impressive, no matter how many times you've seen it. There's a sacredness to watching. Her soar wings slicing the air, body low and fast, like a whisper of gold. You squint to follow. But honestly, once she's off, she disappears faster than your eyes can keep up. A second later, a cry, then silence, then a thump in the reeds. You move quickly, stumbling a bit on loose snow. But by the time you reach her, she's already perched on her catch. This time it's a rabbit, lean but enough for a meal. She looks at you not with pride, but with something that feels closer to indifference. It's just her nature. She doesn't care about your approval. She cares about the wind, the chase, the hunger. Still, you offer her a morsel, just a sliver of liver from your pouch. Airward, yes, but also a gesture of respect. You wrap the rabbit in cloth and tie it to your saddle. It'll be part of tonight's stew, if you're lucky, or breakfast tomorrow. If you fall asleep before lighting a fire, there's a rhythm to this life. Hunt, rest, ride, repeat. Some say it's monotonous, others call it meditative. You've never cared for either label, it just is. As you lead your mare back toward the trail, you find yourself humming. Not a tune exactly, just a low, vibrating kind of hum that happens when you read alone with your thoughts and too lazy to form words. Your grandfather used to do the same, said it kept the animals calm, said it reminded the eagle that you were a friend, not just a ladder to the sky. The sun now hangs lower, a deep amber globe just grazing the tips of the hills. Golden hour, some people call it. For you, it's just time to hurry. You check your surroundings. No wolves, no wind, picking up, but the temperature is dropping again, and fast. You can feel it in your knees. You ride in silence for a while, the eagle dozing lightly on your glove, her feathers puffed just enough to trap heat. She dreams, you think. Birds dream, don't they? You've never been sure. But sometimes, she twitches in her sleep like she as flying through her memories. The path to camp curves up. A horizon gives you a brief, breathtaking view of the valley. Snow-laced. Ridges roll into one another like folded silk. Smoke curls from a distant yurt. Could be yours. Could be someone else. You, dear. Tea care. It is a sign of warm th, of tea, of fire. This, you realize, is the part of the day you like most. The hunt is done. Your belly isn't empty, and your ego is content. There's nothing to chase. No decision to make. Just the long glide toward rest. You reach into your coat and pull out the little copper belt. You attach it to her leg gently, so she does forget you tonight. Not that she would. But old falconers say it's not for the eagle. It's for you, so you'll sleep easier, knowing she's still near. The mare snorts, the cold's creeping in. Time to go home. The camp comes into view just as the last light starts slipping away, first from the hills, then from the grass, and finally from your fingertips. You always think you'll have more time, but the steppe never waits. The horizon swallows the sun with barely a sound, and suddenly the temperature drops like Araucana stream. Your yurt sits snugly at the base of a low ridge, shelt red from the wind, the smoke hole above it lets out a soft stream of white that smells like juniper and yak dung. Not everyone would call it pleasant, but to you it's the scent of survival. You dismount, stretch your aching legs, and guide your mare toward the small wooden post where she'll rest. She lets out a sigh that mirrors your own, a puff of breath that floats and vanishes. You rub her flank affectionate lie, then unbuckle the day sketch from your saddle. Your eagle is the last to dismount. She hops from your glove to her familiar perch near the yurt entrance. Her feathers ruffle once, then settle. She tucks one foot under her belly and closes her eyes. That is her way of clocking out. Day over. You, however, still have things to do. Inside the yurt, it's warm, almost deceptively so. The felt walls insulate better than they look, and the little iron stove crackles with life. You hang the rabbit near the entrance, where the cold keeps it fresh until you ready to prepare it. For now, tea comes first. You fill your kettle with snow. You run out of stored water again and set it over the flame. It hisses, then sizzles, then begins its slow climb toward boil. You drop in a few leaves from your pouch, dried nettle, a pinch of mint, and something bitter your mother always said was good for the bones. You've never questioned it. Sitting on a felt cushion, you unlace your boots. The warm THCPs into your toes like Osai. You pour the tea, cradling the bowl in both hands. Outside, the night has taken over, but the stars haven't heavily appeared yet. It's that strange in between darkness, soft and thick, like the inside of a fur cloak. You sip. It's not delicious, but it's familiar, which is its own kind of comfort. Then, as always, you begin your nightly maintenance. The gear comes out, the jesses, the hoods, the leather harness. You check the stitching, smooth the worn parts with beeswax, and make mental notes of what will need replacing soon. The truth is, being a falconer is 80% fixing things and 20% flying things. Not that you tell your apprentice that if you had one. Outside, your ego lets out a single low chirp. It's probably nothing, just a settling sound. But still, you rise and step outside. The stars have arrived. Not just a few, all of them. The steppe sky is greedy like that. No light pollution, no cities, no distractions, just galaxies upon galaxies. Pretending to be pinholes in velvet, you could spend hours identifying constellations. If you read more of them, you spot Altai S-Crown, and maybe the curve of the dragon. Or maybe it's Schuster Orion, tilted on his side. You're not picky. You whistle softly. Not to. The eagle just to the night. Somewhere out in the dark. A dog barks once, then silence again. You return inside and begin preparing dinner. Slicing the rabbit meat thin, so it cooks faster. A little salt. A few onions you've been hoarding. And a chunk of dried fat for richness. It'll do. The stew simmers as the yurt fills with savory heat. You eat with your fingers. As always, dipping bread into the broth. It burns your tongue as lightly. Yudian pined it. Reminds you that you're still here as the fire burns low. You sit back and feel the day away on your limbs. There's no clock here. No schedule, no rush. Just sleep. Then sunrise. Then the next silent chase across the hills. And as your eyes begin to flutter, you whisper acquiescent goodnight to your ego outside. Not that she needs it, but you do. Morning arrives slowly, like ashy visitor knocking gently on your yurt-s felt walls. You wake to the soft creak of the wood end frame and the distant cry of a marmot somewhere near the ridge. The air inside is cool but welcoming. The fire long gone to embers, and the smell of last night's stew still lingering faintly. You stretch and rub the sleep from your eyes. Your ego is already awake, perched patiently by the entrance, feathers fluffed against the morning chill. You slip on your boots and pull on your thick coat. Today, the hunt will be different. Yuri heading further east, toward the edges of the forest where prey is less predictable but potentially more rewarding. Before you leave, you carefully remove the copper bell from the eagle sleg. The tradition is to take it off at night and put it on during the day. Though some falconers argue about the ethics of the bell's noise, does it warn prey or betray the eagle's stealth? Scholars still debate this, but you follow the old ways for now. Your mare snorts and paws at the ground, ready to move. You load the leather hood over your eagle shid, a soft leather mask that keeps her calm during the ride. Some falconers customize their hoods with intricate embroidery, but you prefer simplicity. There's a quiet dignity in plainness. Or maybe you're just too lazy to fuss. You lead your mount onto the trail, the frozen ground crunching beneath hooves. The forest edge appears as a dark line against the wide expanse. You've heard stories about spirits inhabiting these woods, ancient guardians that protect the land and its creatures. Whether that's true or just superstition, you respect the place. The last thing you want is to anger the unseen. Your ego remains silent, sensing the change in scenery. Trees rise tall and close here, blocking much of the wind and creating pockets of stillness. The air smells richer. Pine needles, damp earth, and something like forgotten stories. You dismount to let your mare rest, walking through the trees. You keep low and slow, eyes scanning for movement. Suddenly, a flash of brown dashes between trunks of hair, quick and nervous. You raise your arm, glove ready. The eagle shifts under the hood, muscles tense beneath her feathers. You whisper a soft encouragement, though she doesn't need it. Her instinct takes over. You release the hood with a soft flutter. She takes off, wings beating silently between the trees. The chase is tight, a dance of shadows and light. You follow on foot, your breath coming out in small clouds. Minutes pass, and then you hear her call. A sharp cry signaling success. She returns with Asmo grouse clenched firmly in her talons. It's not a large prize, but it will feed you both. You smile, feeling Arari's sense of accomplishment. The forest may be unpredictable, but it has offered something today. You pause for a moment, noticing a peculiar tree with bark peeling in. Strange patterns. You recall a tale your grandfather told you about whisper trees that listen to secrets and guard them in their rings. No one knows if it's true, but the story always made. You feel less alone out here. The sun climbs higher now, scattering light through the canopy. You pack up. Your catch and prepare to head back. The forest whispers behind you, its ancient voice fading as the open steppe welcomes you home. You arrive back at camp just as the sun begins its lazy descent toward the horizon. The warmth of the afternoon lingers on your skin, mingling with the dust and sweat collected from the day's journey. Your mare nuzzles you as you pat her neck, grateful for her steady strength. Your eagle settles on her perch, preening feathers with meticulous care. You watch her with acquiescent pride. She's more than a bird. She's a partner shaped by countless da-ns and dsks. As you prepare the evening meal, you think about the tools that have served you so well. The bow, the leather gloves, the jesses all handcrafted and worn with history. You run your fingers over the braided leather of your gloves, feeling the familiar roughness. It's funny how something so simple can mean so much. You remember hearing that falconers in other regions use different techniques. Some even tie tiny bells to their eagle's legs, though you personally prefer silence. Historians still argue whether those bells were practical or purely ceremonial. You roast the day's catch over the fire, savoring the smell of cooking meat, mingling with the crisp air. It reminds you of tales from the Silk Road, how falconry spread through Asia and Europe, a noble pastime for warriors and kings alike. Later you sit by the fire, the orange glow flickering against your face. You pull out an old, weathered journal, pages filled with sketches and notes about each bird they trained. You flip through it, your finger tracing the outline of a falcon's swing. Scholars still debate the exact origins of falconry in Mongolia, but you know it's more than history. It's life. As night falls, the stars begin their slow dance overhead. You lean back, the fire warming your back, and listen to the quiet hum of the steppe somewhere nearby. Your eagle emits a soft, comforting call. You smile to yourself. Being a Mongolian falconer isn't just about hunting. It's about a bond, a rhythm with nature that pulses through your veins. And as you close your eyes, you feel ready for whatever tomorrow brings. You wake early to the chill of dawn creeping under the yurt's flap, a reminder that the steppe does forgive late risers. The first light paints the world in muted golds and blues, softening the edges of the hills and the scattered tufts of grass. Today you focus on training your eagle, a delicate dance of trust and patience. You step outside, the cold biting at your cheeks, and prepare the equipment jesses, leashed all arranged with practiced care. You call softly, and she responds with a quiet chirp, stretching her wings against the cool breeze. You slip the hood over her head. It muffles her senses, keeping her calm as you attach the jesses. Training is not just about commands. It's about understanding her moods, reading subtle shifts in feathers or posture. Some falconers argue that too much training can dull a bird's wild instincts, while others believe it's essential for survival. The debate continues among experts. You spend hours walking, flying, and recalling her, rewarding each successful return with a piece of meat. The bond deepens with each flight, a silent conversation between you and this fierce creature. You notice a curious habit. She sometimes blinks, one eye more than the other during training, a bt lighty that has puzzled falconers and biologists alike. Is it a sign of concentration or something more mysterious? No one knows for sure. As the sun climbs higher, you pause beneath a lone tree to rest. The view stretches endlessly, a sea of grass shimmering under the morning light. You take a deep breath, feeling the weight of centuries of tradition in your chest. Training isn't easy, but it's the heartbeat of falconry. And as your eagle soars once again into the open sky, you know this ancient partnership will carry on. The afternoon sun grows warmer as you prepare for the ritual of feather care, a practice as old as falconry itself. You'll carefully inspect each feather of your eagle, running your fingers through the silky shafts and checking for any wear or damage. Every feather is vital. Even the slight imperfection can affect flight. You use a mixture of oils and herbs handed down through generations to keep her plumage supple and strong. Some falconers swear by the scent of juniper smoke for healing, while others prefer the stickiness of pine resin. Scholars remain divided on which method truly benefits the birds best. While tending to your eagle, you notice how her eyes reflect the sunlight, sharp and golden like tiny suns. It reminds you of the legend that Mongolian falconers believe. An eagle says hold the wisdom of the mountains and the secrets of the skies. Whether this is folklore or fact, it adds a poetic layer to your daily care. You also think about the ancient laws of falconry, how eagles were once considered sacred, and harming one was punishable by exile. These customs still echo in your actions today, a quiet respect for the bird that transcends mere hunting. The ritual soothes you both, a moment of calm amid the endless vastness of the steppe. The eagle seems to understand, nuzzling your hand gently, a silent thank you. Later you look up at the distant mountains, wondering what stories they hold. History may debate the origins of these customs, but to you they are as real as the wind, whispering through the grass. The sun sinks lower, casting long shadows across the rolling steppe as you prepare for the evening shunt. This time, you're joined by a fellow falconer, an old friend with stories as rich as the ember skies. Together, you discuss the nuances of hunting techniques, passed down through generations. You both know that hunting isn't just about skill. It's about respect for the land and the creatures. You pursue, your eagle perches quietly, keenly observing your every move, sensing the change in energy. As you walk side by side, you share tales of the rare golden eagle used by Kazakh hunters, a bird larger and fiercer than your own. Some say these eagles can carry prey twice their weight, but historians still debate how common this practice truly was. You reach a secluded valley where the wind carries scents of distant prey. Your eagle is released, wings spreading wide as she takes flight in a graceful arc. The chase is a blend of patience and precision, aided of instincts honed over centuries. During a quiet moment, you spot a patch of unusual wildflowers with a scent unfamiliar to you. Local lore calls them dream herbs believed to bring restful sleep. When brewed as tea, whether that is true or just superstition, you make a mental note to ask your grandmother about it. The hunt concludes with a modest catch, enough to sustain both you and your companion. As night approaches, you feel a deep sense of connection, not just to your eagle and friend, but to the timeless rhythm of life on the steppe. Night wraps the steppe in a velvet cloak, the stars twinkling like distant campfires in the vast darkness. You settle near the fire, the warm tea seeping into your bones after the day. Cold. Your eagle rests beside you, feathers soft and relaxed. Under the flickering light, you begin preparing your gear for tomorrow, carefully cleaning the leather straps and inspecting the hood. The routine is soothing, a quiet ritual that keeps you connected to your craft. Some falconers believe that materials themselves hold memories, absorbing the essence of every hunt and flight. As you work, you think about the mysterious rock formations, nearby ancient landmarks, said to be the resting places of falcon spirits. Folklore has it that these stones grant protection to those who respect the eagle's code. Scholars continue to debate the true origins of these stories, but the belief endures. The fire crackles softly, and you find yourself humming an old folk tune your mother taught you. The melody feels like a bridge between past and present, a reminder that your life is part of a larger story. You glance at your eagle, eyes shining in the firelight, and feel a profound gratitude. This partnership is not just about survival, it's about harmony, trust, and shared freedom. As the night deepens, you close your eyes, letting the quiet embrace of the steppe lull you toward rest, ready to greet another day. In this timeless landscape, dawn tiptoes back across the steppe as you stir awake, the cycle ready to begin anew. You stretch, feeling the lingering calm from the night before, settle gently in your bones. Your eagle, perched nearby, blinks slowly, as if sharing in the quiet anticipation of the day. Today you reflect on the legacy you carry, the knowledge passed down from countless falconers. Before you, the craft is a tapestry woven from skill, patience, and deep respect for nature. You realize that falconry is not merely a hunting method but a dialogue between human and bird, ancient and modern. You recall the fascinating fact that some Mongolian falconers still communicate with their eagles using subtle whistles and hand gestures, a language nearly lost, but loving lie preserved. The academic world debates how much of this communication is instinct, versus learned, keeping the mystery alive. With the first light, you release your eagle once more, watching her ascend into the vast blue sky. You feel April, found sense of belonging here, under this endless dome, part of our tradition that transcends time and place. You gather your gear, ready to face whatever the steppe offers, knowing that every day is a chance to deepen the bond, sharpen your skills, and honor a heritage as wild and enduring as the eagle's flight. Now as the day's journey ends, and your eyelids grow heavy, imagine yourself lying beneath that vast Mongolian sky. Feel the gentle breeze whispering through the grasses, the distant call of your eagle fading softly into the night. Let your breath slow, matching the rhythm of the steppes timeless heartbeat. The warm th of the fire lingers. The stories of falconry weaving dreams of ancient skies and silent wings drift deeper, where history and nature blend seamlessly. And know that you are led by a tradition older than words. Rest now, gently and peacefully, wrapped in the soft embrace of the steppes' quiet night. Good night, and may your dreams take flight.